Hello, hello. I've pulled in and made it worse. I hope everybody's having a great day today. I have, listen, I do my own hair, and I did a hot oil treatment before I did my hair, so this is not the most laid and slayed my hair's ever been, but I'm not mad at it because I took care of my hair. So the flyaways are just gonna have to be there because we chose hot oil treatment over laid and slayed this time. But today we're going to be talking about transforming your eating habits, from going from unconsciously consuming and not understanding what we're consuming and not understanding what we're doing in our body to mindfully consuming and having mindful eating and understanding how we're consuming and understanding what's going into our food and wanting to know what we're eating and consuming and what's going into our food. And that starts with us understanding what's going on currently right now in our society and what's happening with our food, and understanding that we're not being supported by these people who are over our food, and we have to start questioning and educating ourselves rather than just going with the flow and doing what they tell us that we should do because they have a title, they have a rank. And so we have to understand that in order for us to be healthy and be vibrant the way that we should, and to be living the way that we should, and to be mindful of the things that we're consuming, it starts with us to first realize that what we are currently doing is harming us and it's not helping us. And get out of the space of thinking that we're consuming in moderation, because none of us are consuming in moderation. And to understand that since we are not consuming in moderation, it's time for us to make a change because we are unhealthy as a society. Look how society looks right now, currently. Look what's going on with society. We are unhealthy, and we have to make a change for ourselves, and we have to start establishing healthier habits so that we can pass that along generationally. We can show people that you don't have to suffer through diet culture to be healthy. You don't have to suffer and eat salads every single day to be healthy. You have to gain the nutrients that your body is craving, that your body deserves. And that starts with you eating real whole foods. It starts with you understanding what's going inside of your food and knowing how to support your body. And so if you are at the space where you don't know how to start, you don't know how to take care of your body, you don't know what in the world to do because you deserve the health that you want for yourself, or maybe you have developed a disease from inflammation, from the toxins that you're consuming, and you're just looking for a solution for help, this is the live for you, as well as my whole plant-based mastery, what is it called? Playlist. That's what I'm trying to think of on YouTube, because I do repost all of my lives on YouTube. And just allow you to understand, as well as the Purge the Poison playlist, I want to say that too, but just allowing you to understand that we have been taught and programmed and passed down from generation to generation of not understanding how to consume and not understanding how to take care of our body, and being taught and misled with food pyramids, my plates, doing all these things and not understanding what nutrition actually looks like and where nutrition actually comes from. And because there was a profit margin in the dairy industry, because there was a profit margin in them mass producing meat and things like that, they took that and ran with it with marketing and marketed to you that that's the only way that you're going to be healthy. And now society is an example. What do we all look like, especially here in America? What is society majority looking like? Because I can't identify with that anymore, but I know how I used to be, and I know where I was and what I looked like before. And so I do understand, but I no longer am in that box of normal of what everybody looks like and what everybody consumes and what everybody does and how unhealthy our society is. And everybody around the world knows how unhealthy America is. But at the same time, we have to realize that they're not just targeting us in America, even though they've done the job and they've done it well. Because you look and we're dealing with excess fat, excess bloating. We're dealing with all of these PCOS, all of these, fertility issues. We're having men that are having fertility issues, or not fertility issues, but, they're having low sperm count. We're having people sitting here struggling with anxiety and depression and being malnourished, and it's leading your brain to suffer, and not understanding that we're doing it to ourselves by consuming the way that we consume and not consuming the way that our body needs. And so we have to be mindful, and we have to transform our mindset in order for us to eat mindfully and for us to be taking care of our body and giving our body the nutrients that it deserves and what it needs. And so if you're wondering what I'm looking at my notes. it's time for us to have an important conversation and for us to understand that we have become accustomed to being unhealthy, and we have become accustomed to poisoning ourselves. And I say poison because it's really that detrimental. We are poisoning ourselves because our food that is causing inflammation inside of our body is toxic. And when it's toxic to your body and your body does not know what to do with this inflammation food, because you have processed foods that have titanium dioxide, you have citric acid made from mold inside of your body, like not understanding what these ingredients are and consuming them, your body doesn't know what to do with them, regardless if you know what they are or not. But if you're consuming them, your body holds on to it because it has no way of knowing what to filter out and what to keep. It doesn't know if it's a nutrient. It does. All it knows is it's a foreign thing, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. So it stores it and it holds on to it. And then since it's storing and your body is holding on to it, now you're in fight or flight mode. Your body is immediately like, this is a foreign thing. Just like when you have foreign cells in your body that are illnesses, your body starts to attack it. But now it's stored inside of your own fat cells. So your body is attacking itself. And so it's stored inside of you, causing an imbalance. And since your body's attacking itself, you start to show symptoms and signs of you having anxiety. You start to develop issues of you having irritable bowel syndrome. You start to have PCOS. You start developing cysts, fibroids, like things like that are not unrelated. They are all caused by the things that you are consuming, whether it's internally or externally. But we're focusing on your eating habits. And so you have to understand that if you are not feeding your body with real whole foods, you are harming it. And you are literally harming yourself to the point where you are leading yourself to inflammation, disease, and cancer. And we have to stop. We have to release that. And it's scriptural in Ephesians 26, and I talk about this all the time, that it talks about if you are not following the Most High's ways, you're not following what He says for you, you are sitting here developing illness and disease, and you're wasting away. And that's all because you chose the world, and He let you be a part of the world. He gave you off to the enemy. And so we have to look at that and understand that you sit there and want to argue in the Bible that it tells you that you can consume meat. It tells you that you should be doing all of these different things. But then we look at society, then nobody's eating seeded fruit. That's for sure. Nobody's eating a vegetable plate full of love, because that's in scripture as well. Nobody's eating any of these real whole foods, but we're eating a whole bunch of processed foods. We're eating a whole bunch of meat. We're drinking a whole bunch of dairy. And what is society doing? We're inflamed, diseased, and wasted away. So you have to put that to scripture, because people love to quote what they want to quote, but not looking at the full big picture. Because people will tell you all the time that it tells you that, they eat meat, but you don't talk about the fact that they usually only had access or a abundance of meat like everybody does every single day when it comes to society, especially in America, that they were only doing that for celebration purposes. They weren't doing that just on a normal Wednesday. And so we have to take our habits and reestablish and look at them and reparent them. And I talked about this in the last live. You can go check it out. Understanding deprogramming and reprogramming and reparenting your mind, because things are passed down generationally, and that's not our fault. But what our priority should be is looking at how we can make our life easier, make sure we're healthy, and to make sure we're taking care of ourselves so that we're not sitting here malnourished, sitting here anxious and depressed, sitting here dealing with excess bloating and excess fat, struggling to lose weight, struggling to maintain a healthy weight, sitting here struggling to be balanced because your gut biome is off. And when your gut is off, your brain is off. There's a total connection with your body and your health. And it starts with you having nutrition or lack thereof. And majority of society is lacking nutrition. And we look around and we see all these people overweight. We see all these people who are anxious. We see all these people on antidepressants. You look around and you see all these people on these different gut supplements. You see them taking all these tinctures. You see people sitting out here not actually eating real whole foods to support their body, but sitting here supplementing with supplements, sitting here doing diets, not realizing that you're imbalanced. So your habits are imbalanced. Your brain is imbalanced. Your total body's imbalanced. Your systems are often imbalanced. And it's all because of the actions you're taking towards your food and your nutrition. Like, point blank, period. And so It's time for us to choose. Do we want to be healthy? Do we want to be vibrant? Do we want our health and well-being to be prospering and for us to be elevating ourselves? Or do we want to stay stagnant and stay the same and keep progressing towards disease? Because our society is only getting worse when it comes to diseases. So what do we want for ourselves? Do we want to support ourselves, or do we want to be sick and unhealthy? Because if we keep going the way that we are and the way that we do, consuming the way that we do, we are going to keep being unhealthy. We're going to keep raising generations that don't know how to take care of their body. We're going to keep raising generations that are mentally ill, and they're only going to get worse. We're going to be having kids that are sitting here with ADD, ADHD, more than what they already have. We're going to be sitting here with kids who are autistic to the point where they can't even function. And it's like, you have to realize that kids that have autism are not stuck. They're not put in that box of autism all their life. People, society put them in that box because any non-function, non-verbal child with the right care, the right nutrients, the right external products, the right lifestyle can get to functioning at a societally normal state. The same thing with a kid with ADD. They don't have to be sitting there taking all these prescriptions and drugged up in order for them to sit down in one spot and to do what society tells kids should do, which is to be able to sit at a desk for 8+ hours. Because no child should be doing that anyway. And you should not be drugging a child to come up with a solution. But rather instead realizing that ADD and ADHD are fed by the foods that you eat. So either you're helping it and giving your body the nutrients that it needs so that it can be functioning and functioning properly, or you can be haywire, not being able to think, not being able to sit down. And that's what majority of these kids are doing because they're eating red dye. They're sitting here eating a whole bunch of hot chips in the morning. They're sitting here eating, Sour Patch Kids in the daytime, nighttime, whenever. You're feeding them a whole bunch of processed meats. You're feeding them packaged processed meats that have food coloring in them because they know that the food is going to be green by the time it comes home with you because it's been sitting in the freezer for months on end. And you do absolutely no research to realize that you are poisoning your own child. You are poisoning the people in your life, the people that you love. And that's because you keep passing these habits down. You keep going with the flow of what society has told you to deem as normal, in this little box of normal, and not questioning anything and not educating yourself to realize that we have terrible habits as a society. And so it's time for us to realize that we are not mindfully consuming anything, and we have to start consciously becoming aware of what we're consuming and start changing our habits and changing our ways. And that starts with us first establishing what do we want for ourselves and how are we going to get there. Sorry, my hair was under me. How are we going to get there? And so societal norms are not going to support us in getting there. Us sitting here with the lifestyle of consuming fast food, us sitting here, going out to eat at these chain restaurants, that's not going to support us in being the lifestyle of being healthy. What's going to support us is us understanding that we have to get back to the basics. That's what's going to support us. And the basics looks like you eating your fruits and your vegetables, getting back to a plant-based lifestyle. And if you don't know what a plant-based lifestyle is, let me break it down to you because that's what I live. I am not vegan. They're basically the same thing as like a fruit. How fruits are the same. Apples and oranges are both a fruit, but they are not the same fruit. So being plant-based, and I've talked about this before, if you want to know the difference between vegan and plant-based, I go in that detail. You can check out my previous videos. Long form on YouTube, but short form is on TikTok. But you have to understand that being plant-based is you understanding what chemicals are in these products that you're using now, what toxic ingredients are inside the food that you're consuming, and understanding how these all play a factor in your body, internally and externally, and for you to be able to cause balance, to bring back balance in your life instead of causing imbalance with the things that you're using, and to start using more holistic methods of healing by consuming real whole foods, fruits, and vegetables, because you can heal anything that's going on, any disease that's going on inside of your body by you understanding how to use fruits and vegetables as your medicine, because food is medicine and it should be used as medicine. So that is what a plant-based lifestyle is for me, and how it's helped me is using food as my medicine. This started with the food and then it went to my products, but food is the foundation for you to start, because food gives us life. We love food. I love good food. Everybody loves a good home cooked meal. Everybody loves a good delicious meal, regardless if you go out and get it or you make it at home. But it starts with you understanding that food is your medicine, and it should not just be used as something to fill your stomach and consume, but rather to fuel you and to consume for energy and vibrance and for you to get nutrients. And so we have to stop living on the convenience culture of fast food, McDonald's, Burger King. You sitting here going to Chick-fil-A and all these things, because Chick-fil-A has changed their recipe. I think they changed their recipe as of June, so we're not quite there yet, but they're changing it. And they're no longer doing antibiotic-free chicken. They're doing now no harmful antibiotics to humans or something like that. McDonald's, Burger King, all these other fast food places that don't tell you where they're getting their meat from. Wendy's, they're not telling you what's going into their food. They don't give you any type of discretion. They, one, don't care about you. Two, you have to understand these companies do not have to tell you they're selling you GMO products. So any company could be selling you a GMO animal and you're consuming it. And if you don't see the harm in GMOs cause inflammation. It is not a propaganda. It is not a fear-monger thing. That is fact for fact. It's in scientific journals. GMOs feed cancer because it causes inflammation and it triggers different cells inside of your body that feed cancer. And so you have to realize that you are not supporting yourself eating GMOs, and you're not supporting yourself eating these fast food places because of convenience. And you have to stop with the fast food culture, because anything that's cooked in fast food is harming you. That's just simple as that. And I know that a lot of people have busy jobs. A lot of people have things that are going on in their life, and they can't just up and cook a meal for 2-3 hours a day and have that, or they don't have the funds to do that, and fast food is cheaper for them, or just whatever personal issue that they have. But you have to realize that there is a solution to any problem that you have if you want to find that solution. Point blank, period. there is no amount of excuses that are going to get you out of taking care of your body. It's either, do you want to take care of your body, or do you want to keep sitting here consuming the way that you do? And so if you want to take care of your body and you want the health that you deserve, this is the place for you. This is the support that you deserve and that you need and that you are craving and that you're looking for. But if you're going to sit there making excuses about what you can't do and how you can't do it, then I'm not the one for you. This is not the platform for you, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Because there is no amount of excuses that excuse you not taking care of yourself and passing unhealthy habits on generationally. There is absolutely no excuse. There is no reason for you to keep doing that, especially when there is somebody here providing you with the health that you deserve. And so we have to understand, let me get my tea. We have to understand there's consequences to any action that we have. And I was talking about this, and not to throw shade and not to start anything, but we have to understand there's consequences to anything. And I had made a point in one of my TikTok videos that how I just talked about earlier, which I didn't go in depth because the TikTok video is shorter, how autism, ADD, ADHD, like all of these things in our society are riddled. Like our kids are becoming, it's more likely than not that a kid has something like that. And it's becoming an issue. It's not something that we should just sit here and just be like, oh, that's just them, and keep on going. We have to realize that if that wasn't a thing before, if society was not sitting here with all these children developing these things early on, coming out of the womb with these things, we have to look at the pattern habits that are leading us to this problem. And somebody wanted to comment and wanted to be offended because they are someone who suffers from autism and felt like that I was calling them a disease or saying that they had an illness. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is every single decision, every single action has a consequence. And we are seeing the fallout of the consequences of us not taking care of our body. We're seeing the consequences just like how when you develop heart disease or diabetes because you don't take care of yourself all of your life. It's the same thing. Your parent might not have it, but we're passing it down to kids. We're passing it down to the generations that we give birth to. And it's time for us to realize that and to make a change. There is no amount of hatred, and there's no amount of hatred in my heart, and there's no amount of hatred that you can give to anyone to make them want to change. And that was what I was trying to make a point in talking to this person, was the fact that like it didn't take away from my message, and I didn't give any hatred. I gave straight love, because that's all I'm giving is love and just understanding and education. But they responded with hate. They responded with anger. They responded with a whole bunch of emotion. And I have to take myself out of those situations and realize, and like I expressed myself and they didn't respond back to my love, because I said like, you're not going to take away from my message, because the Most High is giving me this message, and I want you to understand that, like, this was straight from love. This was never to come throw shots or whatever. I worked with every single type of person. I worked with kids. I've worked with adults. Like, I've worked in customer service. I've worked at schools. I've worked at the Boys and Girls Club. Like, I've worked at so many different places, and all of them had to do with caring for others. And so that's where my passion comes from, for people to realize, because I've seen all walks of park, whether it comes from the school's education when it comes to nutrition and what they feed these kids, to, you know, government assisted food for dinners and things like that, because the Boys and Girls Club feeds their kids when they come, or seeing a society that has plenty of money that can spend $90,000 for their kids to go to school a year, and seeing how they feed their kids, and they're still feeding their kids another type of crap. They just they just give it to them in a chef form. And so after seeing all of that, I realized that, like, all walks of life are poisoning themselves. The only difference is one community can afford to help themselves if they get sick, and the other community cannot. And they don't care about the people who can't afford it. They don't care about the people who are poisoning themselves anyway, because at the end of the day, you're paying the pharmaceutical companies when you need prescriptions. Your doctors are getting paid, and the whole Western medicine society, whole Western medicine association are getting paid every single time somebody gets sick, every time somebody gets diagnosed, and when you have to keep coming back and forth to the doctor. So they do not care about you being able to consciously and mindfully be aware of what you're consuming and what you're doing to your body. All they care about is you being malnourished, you not being aware of what you're doing, and you not understanding how to take care of your body correctly. And so this is why we have to transform our eating habits. This is why we have to make a change. Because if we're not going to make a change and transform our eating habits, we are leading ourselves to inflammation, disease, and wasting away. And that's exactly what society is doing. And that's on scripture. So we have to make choices. Do we want the consequences of developing diabetes, heart disease? Do we want the obesity like it's running rampant because of our poor diet choices? Do we want to be leading ourselves to cancer? Or do we want to be healthy? Do we want to be taking care of ourselves? And do we want to be supporting our body, knowing that we are passing down generational health, and we're passing down habits that are going to support our children and their children, and living the life that they deserve, and living as long as they are designed to by the Most High, and not leaving this earth earlier because they decided they wanted to eat crap all their life, because that's what their taste buds were trained to crave. And so I want to get into that, about the fact that, like, our consequences also come from us training our brain to crave these things. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a process for you to get out of the mindset of craving these things and to switch to healthier things. But that starts with you, one, tricking your brain, because there's so many different products that you can trick yourself into tasting like the old thing and getting that craving satisfied. But you have to get out of the mindset of looking at something and going, that's made from what? I don't know about that. I've never eaten that. Because when you're making a stank face and you're looking at it like it's disgusting, like you're a 2-year-old, you're not going to want to try it, and you're not going to like it. But if you look at something and go, I'll try it, let me see. If you're optimistic about it instead of pessimistic about it, you're more likely to put a positive connotation to it. Even if you don't like it, you tried something new, and you're more willing to try something later on that's considered plant-based. Because at the end of the day, just like normal food that you regularly eat now, there are things that you like and there's dishes that you don't like. There are things that you have tried and you've gone to a restaurant and you said, you know what, I don't like this. And you didn't eat it, or you sent it back, or you got home with it and you said, okay, I ordered this one time, and you consumed it anyway. And you were like, but I won't eat it again. Because that's what's mind-blowing to me, is that you'll eat any and everything and not ask any questions, because that's the lifestyle that you've been taught, because you fit in that box of normal, that I was about to do a square circle, that little square box of normal. But you won't sit here and try anything plant-based. You won't sit here and try a new lifestyle for yourself. But you'll consume a whole plate of something that you don't even like just to fill your stomach because you paid for it. But somebody will show you and offer you something that's plant-based for free for you to try. And you're sitting here and you're complaining that looks gross. I don't know. What is that made out of? You don't ask all them questions when you're sitting there with that plate of GMOs. Like, that's what's blowing my mind. You don't ask a single question when you go to a restaurant. You don't even ask if they wash their hands. But somebody offers you that, or somebody that offers you, a plant-based product. You ask all the questions. Somebody offers you a vegan burger, you ask all the questions. But you never ask a question about the food that you're eating, consuming, because you don't know. You don't know because you never asked any questions. You can't say, I know this, because you didn't ask any questions. You don't know. All you know is seasoning and flavor. And you have to understand, meat has no flavor. The only flavor is seasoning. So if at the end of the day, if I want to make a black bean burger and I season it just how you season your burgers, and I serve that to you on a plate, it's going to taste the same. It might not be a necessarily meaty texture, but it's going to be crispy just like a black bean burger, or it can be mushy just like just like a regular burger, or it can be mushy, however you would like it. I like mine crispy, so I make mine crispy. But some people don't like crispy things, so they like to make theirs a little mushier. But you have to understand, it's just like how you order a well-done burger, a well-done steak, or whatever, or you eat rare. It's how you cook it and what you do and how you season it. Just like you prefer Logan's over Outback steaks. Like, it's all about you understanding and trying things and being creative. Because you are not consciously consuming the way that you are, but you're sitting there consciously complaining about things that you're not even eating. You see somebody eating a plant-based plate and you're like, well, you're strong for that because I can never. Why? You haven't tried. You haven't even tried. You literally just told yourself that you can't do something you didn't even try. And we're not realizing that. Since we're so unaware of how we're eating, we're not realizing that we're eating like animals. And like I said, I'm not in this category, but I used to be. I'm no longer in that little box, but I used to be. Y'all are eating like animals. You're sitting here allowing somebody to slide something on a plate in front of you and not asking any questions, as long as it has this meat protein on it. It has some kind of dairy side on it, and you have some kind of other, it could be a mashed potato or whatever else. Let's say you have a steak, some mashed potatoes, and some macaroni. Like, you ask absolutely no questions about that plate. But in reality, the steak was GMO. Those mashed potatoes, the potatoes were GMO as well. The cheese, the dairy that you have in that cheese from the mac and cheese came from a cow that's full of antibiotics. The cow was sick. And on top of that, the cow was a GMO cow and has a whole bunch of other issues. But somebody slides in front of you a plate full of chickpeas, hummus, quinoa, and they give you a choice of some kind of side of, let's say, asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, whatever, and they give you a cashew cheese with it, and you're looking at them and you're like, okay, but what is this? How did you make this? Where did this come from? And everything on that plate is organic, but you haven't asked a single question about the plate over there. And you're sitting there consuming it and eating it up and not asking any questions. And you've been doing that for years on end. You're eating like a dog. Like, point blank period. You're eating like dogs and pigs. Pick one. Because that's what they do. Pigs don't ask any questions. I mean, not that they can talk, but you know what I mean? Pigs don't look at a plate and question. My dog, she plays with something she doesn't want to eat. But she's going to eat it. She'll play with something, but eventually she'll eat it. A pig, they'll eat anything. So you're consuming like a pig. You will eat anything and not question it. And I'm hoping that this brings a realization to you that you are consuming like an animal. And it's time for you to transform your habits so that you can be consciously aware of what you're consuming and supporting your body. And so mindful eating starts with you knowing how the difference of mindful eating and not consciously eating and not consciously eating makes in your body, because diet culture is not going to support you. And that's you consciously being aware that you want to, lose weight momentarily, you want to eat this way momentarily, but it's all a facade because it's momentarily. It should be a lifestyle choice. You should be constantly consciously aware of wait, did I say that right? You should be constantly cautious, you should be constantly conscious, mindful of what you're consuming. I couldn't get that out. Mindful of what you're consuming. And that is because, you know that you eat real whole fruits and vegetables. You know you're supporting your body with organic food. Rather than you sitting here saying, well, I don't have anything to eat today. I'm hungry. Let me just go to McDonald's. Not knowing that their fries have pork in it. And you've tried to stop eating pork for months now, because McDonald's fries have pork in it. Not realizing that you're sitting here eating their chicken nuggets and their GMO. not realizing that they cook their all of their fried food in canola oil, and canola oil is highly processed. And on top of that, majority of canola oil that is used in fast food is GMO and inflammatory, because it's GMO and they cook it on high temperatures, and on top of that, it's highly processed. So it's like you're literally consuming like a pig, once again, not questioning anything, and consuming to fill your stomach rather than being conscious and knowing that you could drive 10 plus more minutes, 15 plus more minutes, go to a local cafe that serves you a vegetarian vegan meal that is going to support you. And I'm not saying go to a vegetarian place and buy things that have dairy in it, because dairy should be completely cut out of your life. But if you are sitting here consuming meats and dairy and not questioning anything, you're poisoning yourself. Point blank, period. And so we have to understand and pay attention to, if you're going to get into the lifestyle and you decide that you're going to do this, it's not going to be momentarily. It's going to be a lifestyle. It's not diet culture. And we have to, during that process, pay attention to how you feel. Pay attention to what shifts in your life, and understanding what your body feels like, and knowing how your mind starts to stabilize, and how you have to make sure, first of all, that you're taking care of your body and that you're filling your body with real whole foods, and you're consistently doing it, because you can't sit here and get hungry and allow yourself to be sitting here starving and thinking you're going to make the right choice, because that's not going to work. But rather, you have to know what you're eating, and then realize how improved your digestive system is, how your gut's improved. And if it's not, then you're not eating the way that you should be. And then you have to reassess. It starts with you becoming aware and starting to establish strategies for yourself. And if you are at the space where you're like, I don't know what to start with, what strategy, what habits to start with, I can support you in doing that. I do right now have a healthy weight challenge that's happening in my Discord channel for women that can support you if you're a woman who you just want healthy weight, whether it's you losing weight, gaining weight, or maintaining, just for us to do weight management, for us to support each other and us to hold each other accountable. I give strategies, I give challenges, like, it's just a good group for you just to feel comfortable and to share, whether it's trial and error. So I've shared plenty of trials and errors in my time, and just for you to understand that you are supported and that you're not alone. And that's for free. You can join that for free, because it's time for us to make a shift, and we have to take steps towards us taking action towards us eating mindfully, being conscious of what we're eating, and being mindful of what we're doing to our body and how to support it, and for us to release the poison in our life, which is these toxic foods that we're eating. Because if you're sitting here eating your Captain Crunch every single week, you're getting a new box every single week, you're eating Captain Crunch every day at 10 o'clock, you are poisoning yourself with dye, heavy, a lot of sugar, a lot of sodium. Like, you're sitting here eating a bunch of crap for no reason, because there are different cereals that you can switch to. There are alternatives that might not necessarily be as big as the Captain Crunch box, but it starts to get you to realize that, like, you shouldn't be, one, consuming all that crap and that sugar as early as 10 o'clock, early as 8, 9, however early you're eating it, and realizing what you're doing to your body and understanding what you're doing to your body. And understand that it takes time for you to gain the education that you need and that you want for yourself. And you have to start asking questions, because, like I said, society is consuming like pigs. And so if you want to stop eating like a pig, it's time for you to start asking questions. Hey, how you doing? Because if you're not asking any questions, you're consuming like an animal. Like, there is no sugarcoating it. Like, and I will keep saying that. You're consuming like an animal, and you're not nourishing your body with your habits, but rather you're filling it just because you want to fill it with a bunch of junk. And so you have to incorporate more of a whole food diet, which is you going plant-based. I don't like diet, so excuse me, I'm gonna say lifestyle, because diet, and I'm gonna say this, the root word, diet, I don't like it. Like, break it down. Diet. Who is the it? Who is dying? Like, I don't like that. So I say lifestyle. You have to incorporate plant-based foods into your lifestyle, and that's the way for you to stay. You should not be sitting here eating plant-based food. I mean, you should be sitting here thinking you're going to do a momentary diet of consuming a plant-based meal for, a couple of months, and then you're going to go back to the lifestyle you were living now that you feel better, or that you think that you look better, or whatever else that you wanted for yourself. But rather, establish these healthy habits in your lifestyle and realize that You deserve the health that you're achieving and you're accomplishing by establishing these healthier habits, establishing what you're going to do for yourself and how you're consuming when it comes to you eating real whole foods and being plant-based. And then start to understand that the lifestyle you were living before was not supporting you, and that society has put you in this box of normal, and normal is you being obese, normal is you being inflamed, normal is you being diseased, and that we should not be sitting here consuming in this box of normal, because this normal is leading us to being unhealthy and being sick. And since we're in this box of normal and we keep going in this box of normal and checking that box off, we are passing this down generationally, and it's time for us to stop. So if you are at the space where you're like, I want to be able to consciously be aware of what I'm consuming and be mindful of what I'm consuming, and I deserve the health that I want, and I deserve to be consuming correctly, and I deserve to be taking care of my body and knowing how to take care of my body with full nutrients, I can support you with doing that. And right now I do have an amazing bundle that is going on where you book a one-on-one with me and you get my Purge to Poison ebook and you get my Transformation to a Plant-Based Lifestyle Masterclass, which is the foundation of you understanding how to get into the plant-based lifestyle, why you need to do it, what you need to do for yourself so that you can get to that space. So then when you book that one-on-one call with me, I can answer any questions you have to ask me, and we can support you with curating a strategy that is going to get you a success strategy that I have done for myself, but basing it on your life and how it can work for you in your lifestyle currently right now, so that you can switch and you can get that foundation and you can stick with the lifestyle so that you are moving into this with ease and you're not struggling and you're not suffering through the transition and the change. Because I'm over 3.5 years now into the lifestyle, and I can tell you, like, I will never go back to the lifestyle that I was living before. I was overweight. I had developed asthma. Like, I had knee pain because of chronic inflammation. Like, I had all these issues going on. I could never maintain or hold a healthy weight, and it was all because of how I was consuming. And so if you want to sit there and you want to book that one-on-one with me, it is $247, but you're getting 3 for 1 price. And I'm writing down a success strategy for you in that while we're having our call. You also get a masterclass replay that is valued way over $200, and you're getting my Purge to Poison ebook. So understand that. And in that ebook, there are common toxic ingredients that you have to understand and you're going to start looking at so that you can be more familiar with labels. And it has a game in there for you. Like, it's things that are going to make this easy, and it's going to be exciting for you to do for yourself. And so if you have any questions, like I always say, if you don't see any products or services, or you have any questions about any products or services that I have, you can leave me a DM. You can comment on this YouTube video if you're watching this on YouTube. But you can always, you can always comment. I mean, you can always leave me a DM on my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok, all my socials. They are linked on all my links. They're linked in all my bios. And I truly hope that this live has supported you, because your growth starts with you taking action, and you being healthy takes you taking action, and you choose the health that you want for yourself. If you want to be unhealthy, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to be healthy, it's time for you to make a shift and make a change, and to realize that your actions are not supporting you, and it's time for you to make new ones. So if you have any questions, like I said, do not be afraid to reach out. Do not be afraid to ask. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I have some type of eyelash, probably my dog's hair on my eyelash. But I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. And I truly hope that this has supported you. And if you are on YouTube, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to follow me on all my other social medias.